Hello, I'm Anamaría, and I'm going to talk to you about the project of the Team 18 of the Q Intern Program 2021, mapping the landscape of quantum games. So first, I wanted to also like a little introduction to the program. So the summer internship program offered by QWorld Q Intern, this was the second iteration, and it's a 7 weeks program, as it was said in the previous talk. And it ended on August 2022 on this year. So it was, we learned a lot. So thank you very much for the opportunity. So the overview of the presentation, it's divided into parts. The first one was the part that we did on our internship, that was the present part of the project, and then the future part that we are planning to do. So the gathering, data and classification and visualization part is the present part, and then the journal club and academia sessions, future aspects, and some events like hackathons and game jams. So about the data gathering part, so of course we start by Googling, and then we came to this very useful documentation. The first one by Wang Junie, in the Awesome Quantum Games repository that were from 2009 to 2020, a lot of awesome quantum games. And then the list of quantum games and playful art, drafted by Master in Science, Laura Pispanen, and it was very, very useful. Then we added more recent games, and then the list that we have right now consists on 118 quantum games, and it's still growing. So then we had to classify the games, and here we are going to discuss a little about how did we do it. So first, we had some categories proposed by your mentor, and then in the discussions that we had, we added some more that could be very useful to understand the landscape of the quantum games right now. So the first one, and this was, there are 5 example categories, sorry. So the first was the platform. So if it's a browser or Linux or Windows or Android, and this is related to the second category here, that the download requirements. So if it's browser playable, or you have to download the packages to your computer. So this was an important question because of the accessibility to the general public. And then about what is the genre of the game. So what is the purpose? So arcade or puzzle or a simulation game. Then if it was inspired for a classical game, and the results were not what we could expect. And development during a hackathon, this was a very important questions that we discussed, because we found that the most of the quantum games that we found were done under a hackathon or a game jam. So for a little more details on our results, the majority of the quantum games we found were free. And on the part of the hackathon and game jam, we found that more than 50% of the games were done under a hackathon and game jam, with some events around 10 quantum games. So we learned that these events can be very useful to give impulse to the development of quantum games, and maybe that people get together to work in this. And in the part of the inspiration by any classical counterpart, so the majority of the game were not inspired by a classical counterpart, and we didn't expect that. But this means that the quantum concepts are giving new ideas for games. And in the part that were inspired by classical counterparts, we had like battleships were a lot, like almost 10 games, but we have a diverse inspiration, like Minecraft or ping pong, tic-tac-toe, etc. There were around 1 or 2 games inspired by them. Then the genre of the game, the most common one was arcade, and then followed by puzzle and simulation, but we have a lot of selection here in genre, like adventure, strategy, educational, and etc. Yeah, there are a lot of different things that people inspire from to do the quantum game. So in the part of the visualization team worked very hard, and it's still working in a website that present the quantum games that we have found until now, and our results that we had. And yeah, so I'm going to share the link of the website at the end of the talk if you want to check it out. It also is linked to the web sheet, the data sheet that we had to categorize our games. Okay, so we plan to publish a comprehensive report of the results that I have talked to you about, with the result of the information of surveys we did that I'm going to talk in a little while. So in the future part of the project, we are going to talk then about the Journal Club and Academia team and the future aspects, and then with of some events. So in the Journal Club and Academic background session, this was important to discuss the future part of the project. So we discussed these 5 papers that you can see here, on the inclusive learning for quantum computing, supporting the aims of quantum literacy, using the puzzle game Quantum Odyssey, then a guideline for game development-based learning, then the design challenges for science games, the fostering scientific inquiry with games, beyond motivation and memorization, and the effectiveness of educational games on scientific concept acquisition. So I have highlighted some concepts I think are important. And if you have put attention, you would have noticed that there is a common topic. And this common topic can be more clear using the word cloud of the papers. So of course, the 2 most common words were game and quantum, but we can also see words like scientific, method, develop, design, learn, computer, students, use, or education. And this can be more clear using the backgrounds. So what we did on our sessions, or the discussion of educational games on scientific concepts acquisition, in particular on the field of quantum mechanics. And then what did we learn? We learned that a guided situation can be very useful because they feature new concepts that can build on basic concepts that the students have from before, or that the game is constructing. And this is useful because the students should learn science by doing science. And then we learned also that games can increase motivation and attractiveness, but they should meaningfully integrate play and learning and not just focus on one of the two. And the collaboration can be very useful because the students strategizing and coordinating together, they can do science together. And that can be very useful for the discussion of their hypotheses of the solution of the problems that the games give to them. So we also learned that there is a lack of review literature on games guidelines, even when guidelines proposals have been increasing. And the contextualization plus narrative plus communication can show the communal and iterative nature of science, and this can also show the entanglement of science and society. That is very important. So here we have more general remarks, and here I'm paraphrasing teammate Tamesh. So the desire of finding connections with everyday life can make the quantum mechanics can be difficult because of this desire. And this can also give place to misconceptions. And this difficulty of quantum mechanics is also related to maths that can have problems with giving intuition. But quantum games can provide that intuition and can give new story and new environment and new features, and can give them the reinforcement learning that we need. And then the games can enhance understanding, as was shown, for example, by Quantum Odyssey. Then, okay, so we are going to talk about the form and the service that we recollected information with. So these are examples of the questions. Have you ever played a quantum game? If you have, what is the reason? Which game did you play? What is your experience with the game? Please order the following features of a game in order of importance. And would you be interested in taking part and playing out or reviewing in quantum games? So we have some examples of answers here. So have you ever played a quantum game? Most people said no. And of the people who said yes, most of them had used them for research and study purposes. So we learned too that the general public doesn't know about quantum games, and this can be seen also in the responses to the question, which quantum games have you played or heard about? So we had a lot of responses like you never know or none and none. And of the games that were mentioned, they were quantum chess or tic-tac-toe, but they were very specific games that people know. So this is an emerging field. And on the question, would you be interested in taking part in playing out and reviewing in quantum games? The vast majority of people say yes. So we had another forms if you want to add names of quantum games you know about, and if you want to help us in the reviewing process. I'm going to share also these two links at the end of the talk. Okay, so as a little note here, we had to play the games to do the categorization correctly. So in this particular game, a Beachbody diet, that is this is the principal character, and this is a little monster generated by quantum random numbers. So I put it here because they had one programmer and 4 designer, artists, storytellers. And having no quantum physicists in the team, they decided to make a game that used existing tools provided by James Wooten. So this was to maybe think about what if they had the quantum physicists in the team? So what concepts could they have used in the game? And this is important because if you have the opportunity to work with people from other disciplines, be it sciences or art, it would be very cool for you to take it because, for example, this game was very, very nice to the eye, very pleasant to the eye, and with concepts, a really cool work and very interesting and educational work could be done. Okay, so about some events. The Quantum Games Hackathon, organized by Quantum AI Foundation with QWorld and Quantum Flytrap, that is happening right now. Then the Internet Festival 2021, organized by Fondazione Sistema Toscana, that is the next month, and they had a Quantum Game Jam last year. And then the online Quantum Game Jam 2021, that we are going to hear more details in the next talk. Okay, so in the page itch.io, we wanted to show you, this was a month ago, but how many people are working in game jams right now. So there are a lot of people and there are a lot of opportunities that you could check it out. And then in the future aspects of the project, the writing and reporting, I already mentioned. Then the website that the visualization team is working in. And then a situated history of quantum games and interactive visualization. So we would like to have an interactive map with the results that we have shown. That would be based on a situated history of atomic models. There is a project presented by students of Georgia Tech. Then talks and podcasts with creators of quantum games and collaborations with some candidates we have in mind. Okay, and then before ending the talk, some quotes I think are important to the topic, are relevant to the topic. So by James Wooten, what can quantum computers do for games is an important question for the game industry, but also what can games do for quantum computers? And by Simone Weil, that the joy of learning is as indispensable in study as breathing is to running. So maybe this is this call to think about new and creative ways of learning and teaching, particularly quantum mechanics, in which quantum games can be very useful to do this. And then our team, and this Uday, Amesh, Anand, who I normally present this with, Anamaría, Tanshu, Friday, and Ezra, and our mentor, Seki Seskir. And here are the countries in which we are. There were Canada, Colombia, Turkey, and India. And okay, so our mentor had a twin project called Mapping the Landscape of Quantum Education. And the idea was to have a repository of resources if you want to know more about quantum computation or quantum mechanics. here is the link, and they also have a YouTube channel or playlists related to this topic. So I'm also going to share these links at the end of the talk, and I think that's it. If you have any questions, you can also contact us here in this email. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anamaría.
Okay.
If anyone has any question, please write it down in the chat or open your microphone if you prefer. In the meantime, I have a question. What concept of quantum mechanics do you consider to be the most recurrent in a quantum game, and why?
I think I saw a lot of people like using the tools like of quantum random numbers to generate things like the terrain or the development of the game. About the concepts, I don't know, maybe the superposition, because I think that is a very new concept that you can you don't have that in the classical games. So it's a concept that a lot of people use for the quantum concepts in the quantum games.
Yeah, it has a complex concept, right? For people just starting about these topics.
Yeah, I would have to think a little more about the rest of them.
Yeah. Somebody else is asking if you would propose two games, which ones will be?
Like of the games we already classified? Or
yeah.
I think I like to think about that maybe a little else. Maybe I can show you. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Sheet.
there were, yeah, the data sheet. So I don't know. Maybe I think it also it's a lot of recommended that the Kodoku and the games developed by James Wooten that have a lot of concepts are related to them about maybe the quantum noise. Yeah, and yeah, like we had to play, like we divided the games that we had to play to categorize. So I just played the games maybe to 18. So of the ones that I played, I will recommend the Dekodoku one. Beachbody Diet is very nice. I think it was because there were a lot of artists working in that. I think it would be very cool to think about the presentation of quantum games also, and with the concepts that they could have there. And then, yeah, maybe the Block It one. I think it was cool. It was cool and it's very easy. Like the rules are very easy, but the concepts are very interesting to think about. Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of games right now, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to share with you the link to this particular datasheet if you want to check games out. There are all the links that you want to, if you want to prove something, to test.
Thank you. That will be awesome. Somebody is asking, is there any Android-based quantum game on Play Store? Do you know about any game?
Okay, we could look at that. About the Android, here are Quantum Cats. Okay, Quantum Tic-Tac-Toe, Black Box Toys, Block It, Dekodoku, Hello Quantum. Hello Quantum was very good. Kiss Kit Blocks, Q-Logic, Quantum Cats, yeah, and Quantum Tic-Tac-Toe. Okay.
Okay, somebody else is commenting that Quantum adaptation of existing games, like superposition in chess, versus existing games implemented using quantum concepts, which one will be more exciting?
Well, particularly by myself, I think the use of new concepts for the development of games is more interesting to me, but maybe there are people who think different in a different way.
Right,
Okay.
right. What specific tools you use in building these games towards making them accessible to public, like any programming languages or tools?
I don't know a lot about that. I think the more easier, like particular to play, was the ones that were in a browser, because you don't have to download it and then they build the packages. And I think that that platform can be very important for people to want to play your game. But about the programming languages, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we would like to talk about something who has like made a quantum game to know more about that.
Yeah, right. The programming language maybe depends on the platform you want to make your game, right?
Your game.
Somebody's asking if you will share the list. You already said that you will.
Yeah.
Also, another comment is that, of course, a very used common tool to use to program is Unity, and the programming language is also C#.
Yeah.
Very common, right?
Yeah.
When you say games topics, are you talking about quantum concept or the application field for economists, engineers, etc.?
Sorry, games genre, like the game genre that we have, like puzzle or simulation or arcade, was the type of the game. So, for example, I don't know if like this is arcade and simulation one, I guess. So, for example, like how does it see the puzzle? How does the puzzle one see? For example, so this was a simulation game, because we had to move the little protagonist until the god until on the terrain. For example, this was a puzzle game. So yeah, like you have to play like a quantum circuits, for example. So 1 qubit or 2 qubit, and that was a puzzle game. I don't know if that answered the question.
I don't know, but do you know any quantum game that has the target, for example, only engineers or only economists?
No, I don't know that.
So people don't make the quantum games directed just to specific people.
Yeah, normally it's like in general to teach some particular concepts, or like there were a few games focused on the understanding of what is quantum noise, for example. But for particular like communities or groups of people, I didn't see it. But maybe, yeah, maybe it could be.
It could be right.
Okay.
All right.
More questions? Okay.
I don't see any more questions right now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.